All right, thank you for joining. Today we will go over XRP, USDT on the Binance chart. Like always, very straightforward. This is really all you need to focus on in terms of XRP. The previous quarter's high, previous quarter's low, which was the low of this wick. The range that's building up inside of it, right, in between the middle of it. And where we are now compared to last month, where we are now compared to last week, and where we are now compared to Friday. I say Friday because that's the last actual high volume trading day, which, if you think about it, New York session is what really moves the markets. That's why around 9 a.m. through 4 p.m. you usually get some pretty big moves. So with that being said, in terms of the quarterly, like I said before, with XRP, it's just right there in the middle of last week's quarterly highs and lows. All right, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's look at the monthly. The monthly is trading towards the lows of last month's low, which is pretty bullish in terms of if you want to go long. And I'm saying that because if XRP is going to defend last month's low, it would do so pretty much right about here, right? This is where you'd start to see a bullish push. Right about here, this is where you would start to see a bullish push to the upside, right? So that's why we have to be careful when trying to get into longs when we are clearly in a downtrending market. On the monthly, weekly, daily, it's just in a downtrend. We look like we want to try to attempt to break out of this triangle, but until this descending triangle or trend line, right, is broken, I'd still be very bearish on XRP. Now you can try to think ahead, expect the price to break out of these levels right here, and then aim for previous week's highs. That does seem reasonable. But you do have to then go ahead and zoom in a little bit on some lower to medium time frame levels to see exactly what's going on. So let's see here. This was a pretty important low, which we stopped right before it, right? Kind of like an engineered low, impulsing up. My guess is we might break this trend line in the next few days, come back down, sweep these lows before then making a move back up. Now, to be honest, I do believe that we are in a bear market when it comes to crypto. A lot of people don't realize bear markets even exist until it's pretty much too late. But just to zoom out, XRP hasn't been bullish since July 2025, right? So about 7 months. It's a long time to be in a downtrend, right? It's probably the longest it's been in a downtrend since the Bitcoin halving, right? So keep that in mind. If we go ahead and zoom into the lower time frames, we can see as soon as Asia session open or futures opened, we're starting to get this push up. Obviously, this is directly related to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is getting a nice push up too as well. Tapped the value area low of the overall range, and it's now pushing to the upside. All right. So like I said, Bitcoin sold off, tapped the value area low of the overall range, and is now pushing higher. I believe we might get a push early this week into around 88,000 again before possibly selling off lower. Seems to make sense in terms of price action. And then if we go to XRP one more time, it would kind of line up here. I think we'll get a little bit of a higher push, maybe get to 195. If you want to use your fibs, which are very important, may even just get to 190. But if we go to the 75% retracement, which is one of the most popular, it makes sense to come take out these liquidity, right, at 192 before coming back down, taking out these lows of last week, and even aiming for last month's low around 177. And I mentioned before, I do believe XRP is eventually going back down to 60 cents. It's going to take some time, but I think that's exactly where it's heading. All right. So if you're looking to enter a trade, not financial advice, but right now there's not much to do. You want to wait for this trend line to be broken, wait for some liquidity to be swept, either go short right here, aiming for the triangle fake out, target the lows, or wait for a higher push short at these highs, which would be a nicer level, especially if we hit around $2.05. Seems to be a very big, that's where the last big sell-off happened actually. And then target the lows one more time, or you can wait for price to come back down, take these lows, enter a long, aim for the highs, stop loss below the lows, and hopefully that plays out. Okay, so nothing too crazy with XRP, very straightforward. I believe that it's still a amazing project. I still think it's going to go up over the long run, just like it has been doing. So DCA is probably the best strategy if you're not really a trader, if you're a holder or a hodler. And then you just got to take it day by day, week by week, and manage your risk. But that's pretty much it with XRP. Kind of stuck in the middle, looking for higher prices before shorts and lower prices before longs. Thank you for joining. Remember to follow me on X, leave a comment below, like and subscribe. I have about 215 subscribers now, which is not that much, but hey, I'll take it. So yeah, hit that thumbs up, like and subscribe, and until next time, take care.